G'day guys, SIMRAD Pro Staffer Dean Silvester here. I recently just got back from a trip up north off Airlie Beach fishing the Great Barrier Reef. Just before I left, I grabbed the new CMAP chart reveal. So it's only my first time using this chart, so I don't know all the ins and outs of everything that's available on this chart, but I'll show you how it helped me up there and little things that I was really impressed with while I was up in a new area. So what made this so effective for me when I was up off this reef? I've never been here before. Imagine going to a place like this with no information. There is just stuff everywhere. So one part of it was really cool. All the names of the reefs are on there. So if anyone talks to you about a place, oh, have you been to Black? Have you been to Hook? Have you been to Hardy? Any of those places, all the names are here. What else is super important? Never been there. These green lines signifies the green zones. Very important when you go into a place like this. Obviously you don't want to be fishing in green zones, but you don't want to be worried about can I go in there or can't I go in there. It's all on here, all the current green zones showing what reefs you can and cannot fish. I love to jig. I think everyone loves to jig, slow jigging in particular. So I used this, highlight little humps, and I was able to catch fish out off these marks. So I could see these depth changes. That shows coming from 50 something up to 44. Marked good fish on these and was able to catch those fish. When it comes to GT popping and catching mackerel, those sorts of things, finding pressure was the key to catching fish. And if you look at the way the contour is set up on the edges of these reefs, the closer the lines are together, the steeper that contour, more chance of pressure. All these yellow dots are where I caught GTs. And what I was able to do with these maps is once I worked out with the certain tide position and where I was sitting, current is on this edge. I was able to replicate that, go to other spots, see the same current at the same time and replicate and catch more fish. Another thing that helped me out immensely was having the tides on the sounder for my current position from this map as well. So I could tell where I was, wherever I was positioned, and that tide, so I could mark it that when I caught those fish as whatever tide I was on. So if I caught fish on this pressure edge, I'd mark it run out tide. So I knew that on that angle with that tide, that's where the pressure was, that's where the fish were. I could replicate that and find other spots. But then now when I go back there, I know that that spot worked for me on a run out tide, different spots for run in tide. Just check out the detail in this map, showing all the different depth changes, just the subtlest little things that help you to catch more fish, especially in an area that I have no idea about. All these marks here are exposed rocks at low tide. Some of those are even exposed at high tide. So had I not got this map, I fear that my trip up north, maybe not seen a waste of time, but definitely saved a whole bunch of time having this chart on my SIMRADs and being able to just jump between spots, know exactly when I was in a green zone and not in a green zone, so where I can and couldn't fish. But more so, just those current lines and stuff, especially when I was chasing GTs, to be able to go from one pressure edge, instead of just aimlessly driving, I could look at the map and go, right, well, that reef is across there, same pressure edge, it has those real close together contour lines, so there's definitely going to be some deeper water close. Just made my life so much easier. When it came to jigging, all those little humps, those pinnacles, those contour lines really helped me to locate coral trout, nanny guy, and just find places to jig. Not all the places that I drove to had fish, obviously, but when you're fishing blind, it takes a lot longer. But if you just got a little bit of information by looking at this chart, it really helped me out.